For 99% of human history, being separated from your group was essentially a death sentence. No shelter, no fire, no one to watch your back at night. A lone human 50,000 years ago had maybe 48 hours before a predator, the cold, or dehydration killed them. So the brain evolved a brutal alarm system. When you're isolated, your body floods with stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, the same chemicals that activate when you're being chased by a predator. Because to the ancient brain, those two things were equally dangerous. Neuroscientists call this the social pain response. The same region of your brain that lights up when you stub your toe lights up when you feel rejected or alone. This is not metaphorical pain. It is literal pain, processed in the same neural circuits. Ancient humans who felt this pain strongly were the ones who ran back to the group. The ones who didn't feel it, well, they stayed alone. And they didn't survive long enough to pass on their genes. So what we have today is a species literally wired to feel loneliness as agony. The most powerful anti-loneliness technology ancient humans ever built wasn't a tool or a weapon. It was ritual, shared ceremony, dancing, chanting, call and response. Rhythms creates something called social synchrony. When you move your body in rhythm with others, your brain releases oxytocin and endorphins, the same chemicals released during physical touch. This is why every single culture in human history, without exception, developed music, dance, and group ceremony. It wasn't entertainment. It was medicine for loneliness. The campfire wasn't just for warmth. It was the original therapy session. Around 40,000 years ago, something remarkable happened. Humans started painting on cave walls, not instructions, not maps, stories, hunters, animals, beings that don't exist. The oldest known narrative art in the world. Anthropologists believe storytelling served a critical social bonding function. When you share a story with someone, especially a scary or emotionally charged one, your brainwaves literally synchronize with theirs. fMRI studies show this. The storyteller and the listener's brains start firing in the same patterns. You are, quite literally, getting inside each other's heads. And that neurological connection is one of the most powerful antidotes to loneliness that exists. Before language, before fire, before anything, there was touch. Our closest relatives, chimpanzees, spend up to 20% of their waking hours grooming each other. Not just for hygiene. Grooming releases the same oxytocin that modern humans get from hugging. It's social glue at a biochemical level. Ancient humans did the same. And here's the fascinating part. Robin Dunbar, the anthropologist who figured out group size limits for primates, argues that human language itself evolved as a replacement for grooming. Talking is social grooming for creatures too busy to sit and pick bugs out of each other's hair. Gossip, small talk, conversation, these are all ancient loneliness cures wearing modern clothes. The oldest known deliberate burial site is roughly 100,000 years old. Early humans placed flowers, tools, and food with their dead, not just for any supernatural reason, but because shared mourning is one of the most powerful bonding experiences our species has. Grief, when it's witnessed by others, transforms from isolation into connection. That's why funerals exist. And the really striking thing? The Neanderthals, a different species entirely, buried their dead too, which means loneliness and the need to process it together may be even older than our own species. Here's the thing that should haunt you. Ancient humans, who lived in the most brutal, dangerous conditions imaginable, were almost never chronically lonely, because they were physically unable to be. You slept next to 30 people, You ate with 30 people. You had no concept of alone time, because being alone was existentially terrifying. Modern humans have invented something our ancestors never experienced: structural loneliness, single-person apartments, remote work, phones that let us simulate connection without actually having it. We have more connections than any human in history, and a loneliness epidemic that WHO declared a global health threat in 2023. But here's the genuinely hopeful part. Every single thing ancient humans did to fight loneliness still works today, because it works on the same brain hardware: shared rhythm, concerts, group sports, religious services, storytelling, movies, books, podcasts. You're listening to one right now. Physical touch, shared grief, group ritual. You didn't need a therapist or an app. You needed a fire and someone to sit next to. And in many ways, we still do. Bring it back to the opening line. That person lying awake feeling alone? Their brain is running the exact same alarm that kept our ancestors alive. It's not a flaw. It's the oldest survival system in human history. And the cure is the same as it's always been. Find your fire. Find your people. End card. Tease next. Video. But speaking of things that kept ancient humans alive, what did they actually eat every single day? And ask viewers to comment what loneliness solution they personally use.